Hey guys, this is your host, Mr. Straight Talk, and uh, this is an unscheduled podcast. And I believe the way the news are coming out these days on media networks, I'm probably going to be coming out with more of these unscheduled podcasts to you guys. If you're a listener for the first time, or you happen to just uh, come across this live stream, and if you find it interesting, just feel free to call in. I'll be happy to open up the conversation. Again, a disclaimer, I'm not an expert on what I speak. It's just my thoughts. It's open sourced to everybody. This is a live stream, live recording, and usually we'll be publishing uh, the recordings on my podcasts as soon as we're done. So the reason why I'm doing this podcast, and I'm actually re-recording it, not in the exact words, but re-recording the podcast on the same topic. I tried to get it out there as soon as I saw it, but I was driving, I was using the Bluetooth, and oh my God, the audio was just horrible. So I thought it's best just to re-record it so at least the listeners can listen to the actual words than just noise of my car driving on the road. So again, I apologize if you listened to this podcast before, and if you wondered what the audio quality was, it was because I was just using Bluetooth on my car. The reason for today's podcast is I was at work. Today is July 21st. It's Tuesday. I live in California. So I don't know the exact time, but it was somewhere between 2 o'clock in the afternoon, between 2:15 in the afternoon, between that 15 minutes of afternoon time in California on CNN, I happened to watch a news flash that they were promoting, which said, I don't know the exact words, but the meaning of that news flash was to recommend to public who were watching CNN at that time was against using the first COVID-19 vaccine that could be out in public. They had Wolf talking to Dr. Sanjay Gupta, who is, and both are CNN reporters basically, and then they were having conversation about how that vaccine could be dangerous. Okay, so here's the problem. Media is so confused these days. They are weeks ago, months ago, I would guarantee that you would find hundreds of clips on CNN, on any media, hoping to have a vaccine, hoping to have some sort of solution against this coronavirus. Now that we know it's coming, you have the same media trying to confuse people and trying to say that this vaccine could be dangerous. We all know vaccines have a risk. People are not fools, right? They speak to their doctors. The doctors talk to the patients. They convey what the risks involved are. If it's a pharmacist giving you a vaccine, they talk to their patients as well. It's all done on a background of ethics. And when you have a media in America or anywhere else for that matter, taking things in their own hand and trying to promote a, a total extreme profile of any particular solution, then that's dangerous too. That's equally dangerous. We all know what this virus does. This virus is affecting the entire world. It's affecting China. China would deny it, but we're not stupid, right? We know they don't show the real numbers, but we are smart enough to know that Chinese citizens in China, even if their government is not projecting the right numbers, the common Chinese citizen is affected equally bad as what we are in America from this virus that came from China. And now that, you know, there are companies which are really working night and day to find a solution for a vaccine, now that there might be some hope, the media wants to take away that hope from us by starting to talk about severe risks associated with this vaccine. Now, if you guys are listening to my podcast, if you're connecting to me live, and if you think that I didn't get that correct information, please correct me. Please join the conversation or pass a comment, and I'll apologize. But what I was working, and I heard brief conversation between Wolf and Dr. Sanjay Gupta that they were trying to get out that message to people who were listening to CNN at that time was, guys, this vaccine could be deadly. There might be severe risks associated with that, and it might not be worth your life to take this vaccine. Okay, so what are we comparing this against? We're comparing this against a virus which is deadly. So there's death on one side and there's risk somewhat to life on the other, but there could be a solution. Which way would a common person go? Of course, they're going to go and choose a vaccine after having an open discussion with their doctors. But now, why would you confuse their mind or confuse our minds who are watching you by clouding them? What if that one person who does not pick up the phone call, does not call and reach out to their doctors, and has to go through that suffering of the virus? This is the virus that affects your breathing capacity. It makes you just not have a force or a capacity to breathe and forces you to be in an ICU if you suffer through this virus. If you're elderly, it's going to push you into that ICU and make you be on that ventilator to support your breathing. The problem is not the virus after that. The problem is the ventilator after that. The machine that is supposed to keep you alive by giving you those breaths that you can take because of the virus, that machine itself can kill you because of the infection that you get for just being on that ventilator, because of the pneumonia that you catch by being on that ventilator. So now you're saying that people should not take that vaccine and just suffer through that? What about the mission to defeat this virus? Where did that all go? So your political agenda to somehow keep America suffering through the election time, just to make a certain, in your agenda, CNN, it's just Trump, right? So you just want to make Trump look bad. Is that what it is? That because of that, you just want people to suffer more by not taking this vaccine. It just almost sounds like that. And I'm not even supporting a particular party here. Okay, I'm not even trying to say. I just happen to watch CNN, and I happen to watch that particular few minutes of segment, and I hope I'm wrong. I hope somebody corrects me that this is not what they meant, but I don't think it is the reality. The reality is they meant what they were speaking about is to not, or to promote people to not take that vaccine. There's always going to be a risk. There's always going to be a risk with any vaccines. There's always a risk with the influenza vaccine. That's the most common vaccine we all take. But there's also certain risk of death from not taking the vaccine if you catch that virus, if you happen to be that person who's vulnerable, if you happen to be an elderly person who has multiple medical problems. So suppose if you happen to be somebody who has a heart problem, has diabetes, has organ problems, that virus can do massive amount of damage to you. We all know what this virus does, besides just these common sniffles, fevers, headaches. That's nothing. I mean, we all can live through that. We all can live through some amount of body ache. We can all live through some amount of headache. But what we cannot live through is our capacity to not breathe, or if that capacity to breathe has been shut off. We can't live without oxygen. And for that one person who just goes through that highest suffering, what if that suffering would have been ended if that vaccine was available? And the only reason why that person did not take that vaccine because they watched your segment, CNN. Do you have any sort of remorse that you said something like that? So dramatic, so dark? There is no reason for you or any media reporter to say something so dark on a vaccine which is not even out yet. You don't even know the percentage of people who had a bad reaction to that vaccine. We don't even know which company is coming up with a vaccine. We are hoping for one, and you want to kill that hope. Is that what you want to do? Is that what you love doing? Media nowadays is so polarized because all that comes out from any media, I'm not even just saying, well, I'm saying CNN because CNN did pass this news on to people, but it could be anybody. Nowadays, media is so polarized. It could have well been Sean Hannity if it was a Democratic president. It could have been Tucker Carlson saying the same thing. They're so predictable. You know, whether it's Anderson Cooper, Don Lemon, Cuomo, and it happened to be Wolf and Sanjay Gupta being dark and gloomy about a potential solution just because we have a Republican president. So now tomorrow, if it's a Democratic president, we're going to have same thing coming out from the Republican media. So the media, where is that unbiased media these days? Where can we find honest reporting? Has the world become so polarized that you have to pick sides? You have to pick a side and choose who gets a chance to live. It's either a Democrat or a Republican. Is that what it is? It is a sad state for anybody to go through these times and listen to you folks who are so polarized and biased media journalists. It's a shame. It's a shame to even call yourself a journalist. The doctors, the researchers, the scientists are putting their sweat, their tears. The pharmaceutical giants, the universities are putting massive amount of research behind studying this new virus. This is something that hit all of us, including the pharmaceutical companies, including the doctors. All of us were taken by surprise by this new virus. And the doctors, the scientists are fighting in the front line to bring out a solution. This is not a vaccine which is made in a basement of somebody's home as a science project. CNN, this is not a science project of an elementary school. Do you understand that? This vaccine is made by researchers, by scientists who have years of experience behind making successful vaccines. They go through certain trials. I don't think you know this, or maybe you know, but you don't want to bring this out just because it doesn't really affect and 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 fulfill your political agenda. But people should take things seriously. Listeners should be more critical these days. They should try to question you as a reporter to bring out that good reporter. I know you guys are good reporters too. You all studied journalism, right? But it's just that when you choose to become part of a certain media, somehow you forget what good reporter you were once long time ago, or not so long time ago, when you were studying journalism. You somehow lost that ethics when you started to pick sides of who or which party you will be supporting so that your party's leader becomes the president or a congressman or a congresswoman. That's not life, folks. That's not what the public wants or expects from you. The scientists making this vaccine are professionals. They will not be putting a vaccine out for public if it's too dangerous for people. They're not going to get brownie points, folks, okay, if they start killing people more than what the virus is killing already. They're trying to save people. They're trying to save lives. They're trying to reduce the number of deaths in the country and in the world. And that's what their agenda is. They are professional people. They're not partisan politicians and journalists. They don't pick whether a Republican gets to live or a Democratic supporter gets to live. You don't choose sides. These doctors, scientists, researchers do not choose sides on who gets that vaccine. It's as simple as that. And it's shocking for a big media company like you, CNN, to even suggest that a vaccine which is not even out could be deadlier than the virus, and people should not take it. It's sick, it's sad, it makes me nauseous, it makes me angry to a point where I wish people would realize and realize how shallow you guys are. It's truly shameful. It's very shameful. I just don't have any more words besides that. I could say more offensive words, but I don't want to. But you do realize, my listeners do realize what I mean. People are hopeful that the vaccine's coming. We all listen to these company names that are being put out in the media. Moderna, somebody talks about AstraZeneca, somebody talks about Pfizer, somebody talks about the Oxford study. They all give us hope. They all give us a hope that we need as humans, that something is coming. We are sacrificing our freedom by providing safe environment around us. We are doing social distancing. We're wearing a mask. We're doing the right thing. We're washing hands and we're doing it because we know there's hope that there is a vaccine coming. And then you try to shatter that hope by saying and recommending people that this vaccine could be dangerous. People should be smart. People are smart. Just to let you guys know, CNN, Fox, or whoever, and all the media channels, stop reporting nonsense. Stop telling half truth. People, when they go and take vaccines, they talk to their doctors. They know about the risks associated with that. They make a choice that they're taking a vaccine which could be risky, but that could also mean that they will stop the spread of that virus. The vaccine will stimulate some sort of an immune response within themselves where they will neutralize that virus so it would not spread. It's just a means of spreading that virus. And people who need to take these vaccines are not just elderly people, it's also the young people who are healthy and they don't get those massive amount of symptoms so that they need to be hospitalized. They get that mild sickness, but they pass that virus to 10, 15 or more people around them that they come in contact with. And that's where the vaccine comes into the right role. If a person who's healthy, young, takes that vaccine, they would not spread that virus to others that are around them. And that those others could be a sick person, a sick elderly person, or a sick young person with multiple problems. And they could save a life by doing that. That's a noble thing. That's what humanity is. And you're taking that hope. You're adding that confusion in a common person who would not potentially go online, who would not research by looking at what trials these companies have, what trials does Pfizer have, what trials does Johnson and Johnson has, what different trials does Moderna have, how many people were included in that trial, what reactions were noticed, how risky is that dosage of that vaccine. People don't do all that research. They rely on you. But folks, if you guys want to learn a lesson, do not take shortcuts in life. Reporting is not honest these days. Just do your own research, because after all, it's your life, it's the life of your loved one that you're going to save by making that right decision, by choosing the right thing that suits you. I'm not saying what's right for you. I'm not recommending or making any decisions or for you as well. I'm just trying to put this important message out because I saw something which was shocking, that it shook my core. There was an effort done by a media today to take away the hope that we all have. And I just don't want people to not have that hope. So do not trust a reporter. Do not trust your favorite partisan news media channel. Do your own research. After all, it's your life. It's for your survival, for your loved one, for your family. You need to do your own research, whether you should take that vaccine or not. But you know what? It's actually gave me hopes that CNN, the matter of fact that they were starting to talk about it, and they were talking about the potential risks of the vaccine, it gave me more hope that it's coming. Maybe they know something more. Maybe Sanjay Gupta knows more. Maybe they are in touch with these companies, and maybe something is coming out sooner than later. So that gives me more hope. So take it in a positive way, folks. Take it in a positive way. Don't think negative about it. Don't think negative about it at all. Every vaccine, every medication that we take, simple medication like Tylenol, has a risk. Okay? Nothing that you take which is made in a lab by a pharmaceutical company has zero side effects. Everything will have some side effects. It's just a matter of what we're trying to tackle, how difficult the problem or the primary problem is. If the solution to that problem is riskier, of course you're not going to take it, right? And if that is that riskier, I'm sure the pharmaceutical companies will not put that out in public. I mean, they would not. Honestly, folks, the government would not allow a company to put out a poison out there, which is worse than the virus. Let's just put it out there like that. And that's what CNN tried to project. They try to convert the vaccine from a solution into a poison, and it's not. I would just leave this podcast out here. I just wanted to get this message out to you folks. And if you enjoyed the topics that I discussed, like my podcast, subscribe to it, and we'll just keep the content to come out. Anything which is important to our life for a daily routine, I'll try to make sure that it comes out uh, as quickly as possible. Again, stay safe, stay healthy. Wish you all the best of health. Wear a mask, wash your hands, practice social distancing when you're in public, quarantine yourself as much as you can, and let's fight this virus together.